What brings out the worst in you? If someone accuses me of lying when I'm not, it ticks me off so bad. Especially because any protestation just makes you look guilty. IKR. Happens so often in my house that apparently if my brother leaves something lying around and I get told off for leaving it there. Worse is when you offer to pick it up for them, as it makes it look like you did it but you just blaming them. Talk back and are disrespectful, comply and are guilty. Like WTF. You know what? I think you're lying. False accusations. I can tolerate a lot, but nothing boils my blood faster than when someone starts accusing me of stuff I didn't do or say, tries twisting my own words to reflect badly on me. Edit, thanks for the gold anonymous Redditor's slightly smiling face. Bonus rage for when the accuser uses your anger at being falsely accused as proof that they're right. My ex-wife used to step it up a notch and accuse me of things I hadn't done yet. I know you're not gonna do whatever. She'd literally be fighting with me over something that hadn't happened yet. Needless to say, she is my ex-wife. Same. My stepdad used to make shit up to get my mom against me, and it was always my word against his. I never could win because I was a teenager and you're just inherently guilty of anything. It makes me real confrontational now. I've had some real brutal fights at work because of it. I've straight up told people in front of owners or upper management, unless you have really outstanding evidence of the stuff you're saying, you're a liar and should start explaining yourself. That ends accusations real fast. I had to quit my last job of 6 years because my supervisor blamed me constantly for things I wasn't doing, and I proved him wrong constantly, but his persistence made upper management start watching me unfairly since they figured nobody could be accused of stuff that often and not be guilty eventually. I couldn't handle it anymore. People purposefully misrepresenting my opinion. I'm the exact opposite. I hate it when people misrepresent my opinion. Once I said it was something ethic to use euthanasia on people whose wounds were fatal, for example, a soldier damaged by an artillery shell whose arms had been ripped out, their legs cut off, his eyes damaged to blindness, his skin burned as coal, blah blah blah. They told other people that I said disabled people deserve to die. I got extremely pissed off. Or people assuming they know what you're thinking based on what they think of the situation. Stop projecting. People who pay no mind to the world around them. They stop in front of doors other people need to go through, stop at the end of stairwells while other people are also climbing up, don't let passengers get out of the bus, subway first before they can go in, make their best effort to cut you while walking, driving, then continue going in front of you as slowly as possible. It takes little to no effort to be a decent human being and comprehend you are not the sole, nor the most important, person on this earth. If people hold the door for you, make an effort to at least hold the door yourself and keep it open for the next person. If there is a person who looks like they need a seat more than you do, offer it to them. If someone says good morning or hi to you, at least respond back. I understand no one is entitled or expected to do these things, but they truly go a long way and can only make everybody's day better. Have a nice rest of the day, everyone. You should avoid Asia. India would kill you. Oh God, I was at an airport once, we just landed and these people just stopped and stood at the top of the escalator to try to figure out where to go, while there were a ton of people right behind them about to be forced off right where they were standing. It was maddening. Airports in general are patience testers. Also, have a nice day as well. Be awesome to each other. Lack of spatial awareness. Solution, plow into them very hard, then apologize profusely. Sorry, I didn't see you standing in everyone's path. Being told I've been told something when I've clearly not. Happens all the time at my job. I have to walk out in the car park and kick the curb sometimes. My boss is a 40-year-old man-child. We've had to start demanding everything in writing via email at my job. Our manager was notorious for announcing changes whenever he got word to anyone in his vicinity instead of getting the team together and sending an email for people who missed the meeting. We were kind of assholes about it, but we agreed to conveniently forget his announcements and were like, did you send it in an email or something? Because if it's not documented, then it didn't happen. Or the reverse. I usually remember exact details of what people explain to me, and when they change things later and say they didn't, it drives me absolutely insane. When people talk down to you and patronize you, I am grateful receiving any advice, wisdom, but just because I'm younger than you doesn't mean my brain is made of concrete. My mother is of the mindset that giving birth to someone automatically grants her complete total knowledge of any possible subject that I, a simpleton, could never understand. It's the worst. I did a plumbing job for an IT guy once who had been a little condescending, telling me what to do and micromanaging my job. I overheard a problem he was having with his underlings assigning the same static IPs to stuff, and I'm like, dude, just set up MAC-based IP reservations in your switch router and be done with it. I think having the router guy unclogging his sewer telling him how to do his brainiac work-from-home job pissed him off a little. Though I think that's the route he went because I saw him looking up how to do it later. It's not uncommon for people to think that just because I'm unclogging their shit pipes that I can't or don't know how to do anything else. I make pretty decent money, and it beats the hell out of sitting behind a desk. Former network engineer. When someone washes the dishes and when I go to put them away they're still dirty, greasy. Right? It's worth it to use excessive soap. Never skimp on soap. People who are unable to use common sense, situational awareness. If you are in the grocery store and see someone is trying to get by, move over. If someone has the AC on in their house and you need to go outside for a second, close the door. If you are on the highway in the left lane and you are going 5 under the speed limit and there is a trail of 20 cars behind you, move over. Nothing infuriates me more than people parking their carts in the middle of a shopping aisle directly across from each other. Leave some room for people to go around or park them on the same side. Lazy and useless coworkers resulting in me having to pick up their lazy slack. That annoys me too, but I did once have a boss actually take me to the side and thank me. It blew me away. I was also working with animals, so I cared when shit didn't get done. Hypocrisy, that shit pisses me off wildly. Edit, thank you kind strangers for my first 2 silvers. Hypocrisy and entitlement for me. Unfortunately, they can very often be found in the same people, making that combo extra potent and infuriating. If I repeatedly ask someone not to do something and they keep doing it. I go to school with this girl who kept drawing dicks on my fogged-up car windows and leaving fingerprints and smudges everywhere, and I like to keep my car generally clean, so I kept asking her to stop, which lead to me telling her not to stop when she didn't, when then lead to me screaming at her one day when she kept doing it. Always respect what other people ask you not to do with their own shit, people. OMG, I have something similar where I work. My coworker constantly tries to help by doing part of my job. What ends up happening is, he always screws it up. The screw-ups don't involve just me, it pisses of the IT department, the other coworkers, and the customers. I've asked him to stop. He almost quit, saying that I was not the boss. So I asked the boss to tell him to stop. 5 times. He didn't. I tried ignoring it. That worked for about 2 months. Then, just yesterday, that annoying coworker told me I needed to fix the problem he created 2 months prior. When I told him he should try to figure it out on his own because I was not the boss, and to relieve himself of this stress by following protocol, not do that again, he basically told me to F off and he's not going to stop. Here's the bad he brought out in me: I've started the process needed to get him fired. I never in a million years want to be the spark of someone losing his job. But here I am. I filed an official written complaint yesterday, which is step 1. He needs 3 written strikes against him to justify letting him go. I figure by fall, he will be out of work. Speaking too loud, spitting while someone speaks, being treated like you're worthless. It's passive-aggressive and starts more problems than it solves, but my absolute favorite response to this crap is, "Oh, I'm sorry that the beginning of your sentence interrupted the middle of mine." Or you just raise your voice when they try to talk over you. I do this all the time, especially when on the phone or online. Eventually they get the memo. Maybe not. People are pretty stupid. Drivers who don't use their turn signal only for me to find out they're turning into a McDonald's. All my worst qualities are drawn out by other drivers being rude and inconsiderate. I am a very calm, level-headed man, but driving, I imagine the release button on my emergency brake is the trigger to a front-mounted .50 caliber machine gun or an EMP cannon that can target only one car. A pompous attitude. Someone trying to act better than everyone. One-upping, negging, being hypercritical of everything. I can never take the high road around someone like that. Being treated as disposable by people you consider indispensable. I don't think anything can break me so much. Being treated as disposable by people you consider indispensable. I have been trying for years to articulate this exact feeling. You nailed it. Thank you, and I'm sorry you know this feeling, too. Interrupting me on purpose. If it happens on accident, that's okay. Happens a lot during conversation. Doing it deliberately though because you don't want to hear what I have to say. Yeah, that's a hard no for me. If you don't get immediately snapped on as a result, then more likely or not I'm tuning you out because I'm focusing on trying to keep myself under control. When someone talks down to me like I'm stupid, makes me want to punt them down a flight of stairs. Telling me shit I already know. Peer pressure and crowd mentality. People who are rude when I'm taking their order, it's like, come on, just be polite, it's not that hard. Alcohol. Or it did 9 years ago anyways. People speaking too loud or people trying to act like badasses. People trying to control me. That is the worst. I'm like a caged animal in that setting. I can't stand it. I was raised in a lower middle class household. My parents were the most successful of their siblings. All of my aunts and uncles and cousins lived in poverty. None of them had stable jobs. None of them went to college. Almost all of them lived in trailer homes in the South. Most were divorced multiple times or never married. All the women were single mothers at some point. All of the men were paying child support at some point. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They were good people. Very friendly and would do anything they could to help you. They were perfectly happy in their socioeconomic tract. Until someone died. Then they fought over that person's possessions. Not for the memories, but for the monetary value of those things. Through a decade of hard work, sacrifice, and luck, I was able to make it to the next socioeconomic level. In their eyes, I am rich. I'm not. But by comparison to them, I guess I am. The only time I see my extended family anymore is for funerals. I've gone to 4 funerals for family members in the last decade, and it's always the same, my cousins, aunts, and uncles arguing over who gets what, when it's all cheap, trivial stuff. I have 2 uncles who no longer talk to each other because of an argument over who got my father's used riding mower. Supposedly, my father told both of them they could have it on separate occasions with the promise that they would keep my mother's yard mowed. They've literally quit talking for 4 years over this stupid riding lawnmower. It's worth, at best, $400. I just want to scream at them, $400 is not worth getting pissed over. Just buy another lawnmower. The days between death and funeral are the worst. That's when everyone comes in from out of town and starts circling like vultures, trying to get what they can before other relatives make it to town. I happened to be one of the first people there when my grandfather died. My aunt, who was living with him in his final days, invited me to take whatever I wanted before your cousins get here. I looked around. I couldn't find anything I wanted. I ended up taking a pair of his suspenders, he always wore suspenders, just as a keepsake. My cousins, when they got there, nearly picked his house clean. To them, everything had dollar signs on it. They couldn't wait to sell his stuff for a few bucks. People abusing my kindness. My best turns into my worst real fast. An exorcism. Loud, obnoxious idiots with overinflated egos. Oh, and drivers that don't signal. And breathe. Someone violating my boundaries. Hunger. It makes me angry AF. My anxiety. When I'm in an anxious situation, my conscience goes completely out the window and I act like an idiot. I've done some pretty terrible things because of my anxiety. People who don't understand how hard it is being shy or socially awkward. Not those who simply don't get it, but those who don't get it and then insist that it's easy and absolutely nothing, or that you are just making a big deal out of it. People telling me to smile or to calm down, bitch, I am fine, just leave me be. Neutral face. People who argue passionately about something, but as soon as you argue back they get defensive and attack you, or act as if you're obsessed for caring about disagreeing with them on whatever they were just gushing about.